Roguelike games have been on the scene for a while now, and it seems like some of them are stickier than others. And no, I don't mean it's gross because it had soda spilled on it and you never cleaned it up again. I mean that it's sticky and that you can't put it down. No matter what you do, you just have to do one more run. What is it about these good roguelikes that make you feel that way? Well, it's my guess that it has everything to do with the
upgrades, people, upgrades!
If you have good upgrades, then people are going to replay it just to see what cool and interesting things can happen each time they play the game. If they aren't interesting, or you can't really get loaded up on a whole lot of these upgrades, then your game's going to get boring real fast. And in a genre defined by starting over and over and over again, you gotta make sure that things are spiced up. Hi, I'm Eoti, shapeshifter from another dimension, and I love playing games that change just as much as I do. And today, we're going to talk about roguelike upgrades. Look, mama's gotta pay the bills, so we gotta structure this video in like a catchy, engagey sort of way. So this isn't just gonna be like my thoughts and opinions on something. We're gonna say it's the top 4 reasons why your roguelike items suck. So, coming in at number 1... Oh wait, no, we should start at the bottom, shouldn't we? So coming in at number 4... I'm just gonna list off the reasons, and it's not gonna be like any particular order, it's just the things that I think are most important. First things first, your items need to be transformative. If you are playing in a roguelike game, you are going to die, and you're going to start a new run from the beginning with all new random generation. Yes, there will be some random enemies. Yes, there may be some random map generation or something like that. But what's really going to make your run feel different is the upgrades you get along the way. In most games, these are going to be like weapons you find or maybe some items that you get, and those things should add power to your character. But it's not very fun when that power upgrade is just raw damage or attack speed or movement speed. Today's good example is going to be the Binding of Isaac, the GOAT, the original, the OG that really put the indie roguelikes on the map. And there's a good reason for that. It's not just because it was one of the earliest, but it does so many things right. As far as transformative goes, I loaded up the Binding of Isaac with a brand new save file, and I just went into a run, and I was doing it using this like chocolate milk charge shot kind of explodey build. Boom, amazing fun. Load up the next one and run into it. In this one, I ended up with a flying build that had a whole bunch of familiars with me that were also shooting things. 2 different runs, the same game before you've really unlocked a whole lot of stuff, before you've really dug deep into the game, you're already experiencing wildly different runs. This is massively important because if your game isn't changing every time you load it up, then it's going to get boring really fast. And again, this happened in the first 2 runs I ran on a new save file. There's a lot of roguelikes out there where all of the cool stuff is gated off in the later portions of the game after you've already fought some things and unlocked some other things. If you have to play 12 runs of a roguelike before you ever get to a cool run, then you're probably gonna lose that person before they ever really get a chance to try it out. I think that brings us into the second point, synergies.
The key to a successful merger is synergy.
The reason why I figure it's gotta be important is all of the best games seem to play into this. It gets the noggin jogging. It gets you thinking about things. Then you're not even playing the game. You're sitting on the toilet and you're theory crafting, well, what happens when I get this item and I mix it together? What happens when I dig the pineapple fruit out from the desert and I hand it over to the sun god and he gives me the item for instant explosions? Then will I get instant explosion pineapples? Do I just sound crazy? No, you don't sound crazy. Go dig that pineapple and give it to the sun god and see what happens. If you only have a game that's like, I have increased fire rate and increase damage. You're not going to be curious about what's going to happen. Oh, I have fire rate and damage. I mix it together. My DPS is higher. Wow, incredible. Yeah, you're really going to be thinking about that for a while, aren't you? No. So you need to have items that are unique and interesting, and you'd be doing yourself a huge favor by making it so that they blend together and they work together and they make a weave of your items so that when people get them, they get excited and anticipation of being able to combine these things together, and they want to play the game again so that they could try to make these things happen. You don't even need to have some carrot on a stick in front of your horse, dangling it in front of your player, trying to coax them along like, but what about seeing the alternate ending? Ooh, what about what if you played it on a harder difficulty so that you could go to the gift shop at the end of the game and buy yourself some more skins? You don't need that. You don't. Bad developer. Bad. Drop it. Get it out of your mouth. If I drop out of a roguelike game, it is probably because I have nothing to anticipate anymore. I have no curiosity to satisfy. But when I'm still delving into a roguelike game, it's because there's still something there. There's something lurking in the shadows, and I need to put in the hours to align the planets in the night sky in order to get the item combinations that I'm looking for to figure things out. I think this brings me to number 3. Three? Can I get 3 fingers? Focus. 3 fingers. Anyway, please do not have what I'm going to call a sanitary item distribution. Holy cow, I think if there's one thing that completely ruins your capability of having fun in a roguelike, it's when you get rationed out your items at like prescribed moments in the game. Like you're a patient in the hospital and the nurses come around and are doing the rounds and going, all right, here's your item. I made sure it's the proper rarity so that you don't get a little bit too much in there, all right? Have a good one. Get better soon. I hate that. Please have your random generation game allow for players to get a random amount of items. The Binding of Isaac does a fantastic job with this because you are guaranteed a minimum amount of items per floor. There should always be an item room, though it may be locked behind a locked door. And there will always be a boss room where you get an item from the boss. So a minimum amount there. But then there's also shops that can appear where you could spend money on shops. There are secret rooms where you can also get items that could appear in there. There are challenge rooms where sometimes the reward will be an item. You can blow up rocks. You can open up chests. You can find super secret rooms. You could fight mini bosses. There are so many additional ways to get items in the Binding of Isaac that if you have the knowledge and the skill to pull it off, you will be able to get far more than what you would expect to get in some other games. And the reason why I think a lot of games don't allow you to do this is that they're so afraid of you getting overpowered and stomping the game. But that is the worst idea to have when making a roguelike game. You should want your players to, on occasion, get a game-destroying run. It should be built into your game philosophy to have some way for the players to just get overloaded with power and destroy the game. That is almost entirely why people play this genre, is to find those little threads and pull them at the seams and just watch the game spill open. Once that run's over, it's gone. It's through. Bye-bye. Later, it was nice meeting you. I loved our time together, but it's gotta go. And I think people are scared of having this happen because they're operating under the wrong idea. If your game feels really good to blow up, people will keep playing it to blow it up. Now, I think if every single run you have is an overpowered run, then yeah, maybe the game needs a little bit of balance here and there. But the idea that your game is devalued if players can just blitz through it on an overpowered run, I think misses the whole point. The fourth and final thing that I think every good roguelike has for their upgrades is risk and reward. Some sort of trade-off there. If your items are all ups and no downs, then you don't have as much to consider. These are the important and difficult decisions that make it worth playing. Whatever it may be, having something that is given and something that is taken adds a little bit of extra brain work on these decisions. If every time you look at an item and you just go, white item, no, green, green, no, blue, blue, no, purple, purple, no, orange. If you have like a rarity system in your game and that's basically how it works, then you're going to have your players tuning out almost instantly. You'll have your big pick 3 thing pop up in front of them. They'll see a border outline of a color and then just pick the one that's the right color every time. Why would you take anything else? But when you have trade-offs, a little riskiness here, having to put something down on the table in order to get something else out of it, that makes for a meaningful experience. That makes you feel like you're actually in the driver's seat making decisions instead of just being a slave to RNG and hoping that it's a less than cruel mistress than usual. Alright, and for those of you that stayed through the whole video, you get my bonus number 5. Yeah, that's right. I didn't even like advertise this. This is like a little treat for you for being such a good boy or girl. I don't think this is entirely necessary, but I feel like it's a huge problem in roguelike games where as you play, you unlock new abilities, items, upgrades, whatever it may be. The pool begins to fill with stuff, and it becomes very hard to get a semblance of a build put together. Risk of Rain 2 sort of leans more into a heavy amount of items in order to make each run feel more transformative than the items themselves. It's not the fact that you found one item that's really cool, it's the fact that you stacked 20 things that make you blow up the moon. Now, the way that you do that is going to be a little bit difficult because the item pool is so huge. So they added in a couple of systems to help with that. One is scrappers. You can scrap items you aren't using, and then when you go to a 3D printer or a cauldron, it will take that scrap before other items, though it can grab other items if you need it to, and transform them into a different one. And this way you could sort of cull a bit of that RNG. You still have a wide selection of items from this pool, but the player, using their skill and ability, can refine that down into something more useful. So, hopefully you learned a little bit of something from me and my benevolent wisdom that I have imparted onto you. If you disagree or want to add anything else into the comments down below, please feel free to be wrong as all hell, as most YouTube comments are. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. And until then, remember to take care of yourselves and take care of those around you. Bye-bye.